we think right away about ICE raids and rounding people up and deporting people. And unfortunately, that is going to be part of the equation, but also removing the magnets to illegal immigration. The Lake and Riley Act would say that if you are an illegal alien, you are illegally in the United States, and you've committed one of the following crimes, that you are subject to detention and deportation.
When we talk about migration and deportation, we have to understand that this country has done nothing to improve the immigration system. And the little that we've done, we did in the 80s. It is nearly impossible if you are poor to come to this country, unless you're coming from particular regions in the world. And so, no, there is no deportation that is going to curb irregular migration. What curbs irregular migration is establishing legal pathways that we have failed to do.
Migrants brought into our country as children, the so-called dreamer population, those folks would be relatively low on that deportation priority list. And someday, as part of a broader immigration discussion, perhaps some of those might be considered for amnesty, if you will. But I think right now we have to prioritize criminally illegal aliens, followed by those illegal aliens who have invaded our southern border quite literally the last 4 years, and then we'll move on to some of the more sympathetic cases down the road.
People brought to this country unauthorized by our current system, because I think that's really what it is, are the 2-3-year-olds that came to this country, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds that came with their parents seeking a better life or a survival. In many cases, all they know is this country. It isn't just wrong. In my opinion, it's vile and it's evil. How could a child who has grown up in this country, gone to college here, works in the healthcare system, works as a teacher, be told that the country you love, the only country you know, you don't deserve to be here. We're going to deport you. What does that say about this nation? What does that say about our Statue of Liberty?
Number one is, in most of the industries that one is thinking about when one is thinking about illegal alien labor, agriculture, construction, lawn service, and so on, the overwhelming majority of folks in the United States doing those jobs are American citizens, or they're immigrants legally in the country. We need things like work requirements to be enforced where they already exist, and we need them to be added to programs like Medicaid to get our own workers back into the workforce, American citizen workers back into the workforce. And I think that is the solution.
$100 billion. That is the amount that our country, our federal government, receives in revenues every single year from undocumented individual workers who work in manufacturing, some work in hospitality, who pay taxes. This idea that immigrants don't pay taxes is absolute BS. They do. And as a matter of fact, about 35% of those taxes that they're paying into right now without no proper work permit that they should have because they've been in this country for so many years, it goes to places like Social Security, to Medicare. As a matter of fact, they are actually subsidizing Social Security for the very same people that want to see them deported.
There are a lot of social problems, crime, public safety problems associated with open migration. Now, as we talk about all of this, I want to also say that the United States of America is the most generous country in the world in welcoming immigrants to its shores. It's not like we are racist or xenophobic. America has been very generous to immigrants. It's why people want to come here. But we've got to distinguish between legal immigration, and we do have issues with our legal immigration system that need to be looked at, and illegal immigration, the lawlessness that we've seen on our border that's caused so much social chaos and so much danger and so much tragedy to Americans.
When you actually look at statistics and you look at public safety numbers, immigrants have a lower rate of crime than U.S. citizens. This idea that this country is filled with immigrants who are committing crimes. It is a story that has been told, criminalize a group of people in order to make them the other and use fear tactics to harm them, oppress them, detain them, and in these cases, according to President Trump, send them to Guantanamo Bay so that they can die in detention that no one's monitoring. It is absolutely crazy to use public safety as a way to justify ripping families apart.
Really, it comes down to this. We need to decide as Americans who we want to let into our country. We cannot let every person. There are many awful places to live in this world. There are places with political unrest. There are places with dire poverty. We cannot take everyone who wants to come into the United States, even the good people, even the people who are law-abiding and just wanting to come here for a better opportunity for their family. Much less can we take illegal immigrants where the Venezuelans open their prisons and send the worst of the worst to our shores. So there's a bigger discussion to be had, but the priority has to be to secure the border.
$88 billion. It's what it would cost in taxpayer dollars to deport 1 million people from this country. And so as we're thinking about this moment and deportations, we need to be asking ourselves, why is it that deporting people will solve the problem of economy of this country? We have to understand that deportation will not address the issue. Deportation has been used as a tactic to attempt to cover up the idea that we haven't addressed the issues of immigration, and we're certainly not stabilizing this country to an economy that works for all people. We have scapegoated immigrants for a very long time. In the 1900s, it was Italian Americans. Today, it's Latinos. But the reality is that immigrants come from 50, 60, 80, 100 countries. Now, deportation without due process, I need people to understand, erodes our civil rights.
Look, I think the number one thing one needs to do if one wants to come to the United States and be a contributing member of our country is to follow the law, to do it the right way, to come here on a work visa, on a H-1B visa, on a student visa, and then apply for citizenship the right way. I've been to Arizona, I've been to Texas, and I've spoken to groups of immigrants here in my hometown in the state of Missouri. They did it the right way, and then they are now contributing members to our society. But unrestrained, open borders, illegal immigration, that's got to end. And under President Trump and under this Congress, it will end.
It's been 40 years since this Congress and any administration has created steps that are concrete that make it possible for people to regulate their status so that they can continue to contribute in this country without the fear in the shadows. I think we need to make sure that, and I am a member in Homeland Security, that we're doing two things. Asking ourselves, what are the systems that we must put in place so that people can regulate status in this country? And what are we going to do to ensure that civil rights, human rights are protected regardless of legal status? People like I just saw yesterday as I knocked on doors who are living in literal fear, but they can't afford not to go to work the next day because they won't be able to feed their children. Those are the people that President Trump vilifies every single day. In my opinion and my personal experience, these are the very same people that create the fabric of this country. And because of their hard work, because of their values and their commitment, we're actually safer.